Gundam.tk presents Gundam F90 Type A.D.S. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and yes, I've got a two-part verdict here. I had a whole bunch of bad things. You can imagine this being a 1990 kit, that there's lots of deficiencies, but on the other hand, there's lots of good stuff about this kit too. So along the way, because it was so much fun for me to build such an ancient old kit and see what went on with it, anyway, I've got a lot of notes, so here, without further ado, is the good stuff, and the final verdict is at the end. So are there any good points to go along with that laundry list of bad? And I'm going to say yes, absolutely, more than I thought sometimes, actually, too. First of all, you've got this box, and yeah, it's big and bulky and a little pricey, but in terms of art, that is as old school and classic, I think, as you can get for old Gundams. Of course, some of the MSVs have some fantastic package art, but it's going to capture your eye, and you're going to say, wow, how much is that? And when you find out that it sells for the same price today that it did 20 years ago, that's going to be a pleasant surprise. Overall, the actual design of the Gundam itself, I have to say, is just classic. It's got the white and the blue on white. It's got excessive blue, if you think about it, for all of these parts that are going to cover up the hard points. But I think it's great. It's very Alexian. I think that's a good thing. And it's got the red and the yellow colors, and the seals are actually going to bring it to life with all the little color details that are going to pop out. Even the gray ones on the chest, you'd think things like that would be horrible. And I'm going to say that actually they add something to it. Of course, the seals, most of them are going to stay on, except for the ones that are at 90-degree bends. I don't know why Bandai would insist on putting things like that under the waist armor and things like that. But overall, most of the seals are positives. One of the best things, though, has to be is just this B plate, and when you look at it, you're saying, what color is that? And that's because you can't easily just pigeonhole it, because it's got a bunch of colors in it. This whole multi-injection system, we've seen it with things like the high-grade 1/100 Victory Gundams, and things that are going to come out later like Silhouette F91. But overall, this was great. I was so impressed to see that the shins are going to have 3 colors in them molded in. Then when you add the blue parts on there, they just add a whole bunch. The chest is great because of it. The V-fin having 2 colors is better than 1, although it would have been nicer to have 4. But just seeing this B-plate, when you take it out of the package and the fact that it's on this actual attachment here, you're just going to say, wow, at the time, this has to be as close to a master grade as a non-existing master grade can be. Anyway, some other good things about it, I really like the shield, and that's despite the fact that it's just made out of a sticker. It's a very iconic shield, and if you've seen the GFF, it's going to catch your eye in the packaging. The fact, yes, they've got extra excessive seals, but the fact that they've got holes in there is really cool that you can see what's behind. Blue, 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 these black seals don't look bad, and the 90 with the red. Yes, nothing screams 1990 more than that font. And when you saw the shield come back in things like Steel 7 from Crossbone Gundam, that was a great thing for me, and I like seeing it here in action on this kit. Also, little bonuses like the beam sabers, the fact that they're clearer. So many Gundams, even today, I'm talking high-grade extreme, are going to come with just dull one-color things. If you're going to have it dull in one color, it might as well be a clear color, because then it's actually going to look like a beam saber. Now on to the individual types itself, the A and the D and the S. The A is way better than I expected, actually. When you're taking off all the blue and replacing it with blue, I thought it was going to be too blue, true blue if you want to say that. And actually, I like the way it looks. The A type has to be one of probably my second favorite, even more so than the D, which is not something I expected at all. Just disappointing that the bazooka is the only thing that's actually going to carry over to the full equipment, and they are going to give you lots of seals on here, so that even though it is in blue, when you've got a part with 5 stickers on there, if you added a little bit of silver paint to the bottom here, you could actually make the A part look great, I think. The D part, I'm going to say the gray is fantastic. It's just a good color right out of the box. Only problem being that it's not going to really stand out when you put it on the Gundam. It's the least visual impact, but overall it's good, and I really like the way that the thrusters look, and that waist Gatling gun is by far one of the more interesting weapons, and it has a lot of interesting weapons. This one's just really going to stand out amongst them all. On to the S type, where you've got this fantastic part. Because you've got springs, the Gatling guns are going to look great. I think you're going to have to paint them, though, if you really want to bring them to life. But it's easy because this silver part is a separate piece. Paint that up, add some red for the thrusters there, put the stickers on, the yellow and the gray, and when you combine that with the playability that you're going to get, the fact that it actually functions, stays in place, and is an effective way, if you've got a weapon and you've got to get things to it, why not have it portrayed with a spring? I think it's a fantastic way to use old technology to make it all look new. Now, getting into a few fundamental things. The hardpoint system is a lot of fun. I think it's one of the best-selling features of the F90. I expected to see it a lot more in the manga, and it's just a great idea besides the fact that you're going to have a million different parts kicking around. Anyway, as long as you don't lose them, the idea is great and almost preferable for me than the backpack system that we saw used so well in Seed. The hardpoint idea you could put on all sorts of weapons, and you'd think that Bandai could sell lots of toys, but the fact we haven't seen it that much since 1990, maybe it wasn't all that exciting in terms of a sales idea, but in terms of fun, I'd say it is. And even on the front skirts, when you've got all those different weapons to choose from, some of them are they're going to provoke a lot of interest. The final best part of this is that the full equipment is fun. You've got the best of the three. You can choose whatever you want to put on there, and that's the best part. If you don't like the one that's set out in the manga, and that's the one that you're seeing right here, why not just ignore it, put on this part if you like it, put on whichever parts you want, and you could make a million different combinations for this guy and actually like and make the one that's going to suit best for you and your shelf and your preferences, or whatever kind of combat system you want to conjure in your imagination. So the final verdict, sadly, is going to be pretty much a pass for 2,500 yen for a 1990 kit. It's not necessarily something you have to pick up. The only people that I recommend this to is somebody who likes to do extensive modifications and painting. You could really fix this up, but there's just too many detrimental factors along with that ugly face to really make it worth that price. However, there are a lot of pluses, including to see some of this great old technology that has disappeared over time. And overall, I like the way the Gundam looks if you could just fix up the head, and I really like the full equipment and many of the types. So if it's something that if you can put up with old school, I think you'll like it. And if you can't put up with old school, and unless you're a fan of the manga, it's something I think you can be quite comfortable passing, and maybe go for something a lot newer like the GFF, which can pull this off with actually cool proportions, cool colors, and hopefully a better build. Now, how about future speculation? Since we haven't got any small Gundams in HGUC, if they're not going to do V Gundam, well, they may eventually one day, but the odds of them doing F90 slim to none, although if they do any, it would be fun, and it would be cool to see the hardpoint system on something like that. We do have an SD kit, but of course it would be the master grade. That would be the dream of everybody. Well, if you're a fan of F90, just to see it done with better proportions, better builds, and the fact that the colors would actually look good out of the box, and if they fix that ugly head, it could actually be a lot of fun. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, gundam.tk, a long review here because there's lots to this kit, and it's fun to go back and build these old schools and just see how far Bandai's come, and yet how many good ideas they were still having 20-some years ago. So why don't you let me know what you think of the videos, the kit, the manga, and anything else in between. Love to hear from you. Please comment, like, subscribe, and all that. Always appreciated very, very much. And I'll see you next time with lots more old school kits, new school kits, and everything in between. Thanks for watching. Bye. Look, if Blue Destiny can get into Extreme Versus, you'd think that I'd have a shot. And actually, I'd be a lot of fun to switch between all the types, strike style.